Raise your hands. Who has heard about PEXA? Not you, Mark. Okay, so what do you know about PEXA, if you don't mind telling me? Whoever raised their hand. Yeah, it's good enough, but one critical fact, we are considered as critical infrastructure for Australia. So in case of any issues, government will take over our platform. So that's how critical we are. And that's where the whole of our presentation is basically going into, that how we have used our API gateway technology along with different concepts to make it first resilient. The other thing is how we are using it for our AI agents and all those work. So this presentation basically concentrates a bit on platform side of things. But at the same time, it exposes some of the concepts which we have used for MCP servers, AI agents, and how we have progressed through. Yep, so that's there. Now, because I don't know if you have heard about Australia or not, but we do tend to always acknowledge our ancestors. Australia has one of the oldest living civilization, which is there. So again, we are just calling it out. They are the custodian of the land on our side and just paying our respects. So yes, so as I was talking, PEXA is I think it's the only company in the world which does this work which we are playing at. So if you look at property settlement specifically, it is still paper-based. I think it's same in US, right, where you have bank transfers also happening, checks going out. And one of the stats, especially for the UK market, is that they take 6 months to settle the property end-to-end. Now in Australia, everything has been digitized. And this is where we come into play. We have been working with Kong for the last 3.5 years in PEXA, and now we are on Connect. Now, one of the business drivers to move towards Connect was basically wanted to be cloud first, reduced total cost of ownership, and also create an ecosystem for AI agents and AI tooling. Yep, so similarly on that, we have also introduced self-service capabilities, which almost 100% is self-serviced by the platform teams, our API support teams, and also our clients, which also includes some of the access to AI agents and AI tooling, which we are talking about over here. And this is the crux of all the presentation which I'm going to do today, and I'm going to talk about it. Now, we have been API-first company from the start. And what happens is that the team used to define specs. It used to go into the Kong system. We used to create those routes and services and deploy it. Now, when we started moving to Kong Connect, one of the biggest thing which was there that we want our system to be working with MCP servers, AI agents, and even the support activities will be triggered and managed through AI agents. So that was the main technical driver or the goal we had. And that's why we started designing and thinking about it, that how we should deploy our platform. That tomorrow, if I want to integrate it to a dev portal, the same code is being executed. Now, a lot of times what happens is, when you're setting up a platform, people forget about the user journeys. User is the king at the end of the day. You forget about that, how the user is going to interact with you, how the developer experience is going to be, and how our integrator's experience is going to be. Because PEXA is in that ecosystem where we are integrating with banks, we are integrating with other financial institutions, we are integrating with law firms, we are also integrating with conveyancers, we are integrating with your PMS providers who work with a lot of like loan providers and loan sharks, kind of a thing. Shark is not a good word, so. Basically, the people who work with like brokerage for loans and everything. So it's a very big ecosystem. Payments go through our platform. Now, we also give guarantee in terms of the payments when the property is being transferred from one ownership to the other. So how we manage all that integration, support it, because we are B2B basically and B2G. So B2G brings in a lot of business to government, which brings in a lot of regulatory requirements as well. So our main focus became that you deploy a platform, but at the same time, you want to have that support built in. You also need to have the same experience on the dev portal, same experience when our support engineer is working, and same experience when our clients request us through Salesforce or anything. So we have a CRM for Salesforce management. And that's where we came up with the concept of an operator. Now, operator pattern has been made famous with the Kubernetes side of the world. But if you think about it, any operation you do today in cloud has a service which sits and listens for your operation. So, for example, if you're running a Terraform code to provision an EC2 machine in AWS, that is actually making an HTTP call to AWS controller, which then goes and provisions a EC2 machine for you. So if you look at the Terraform logs, you'll get those HTTP logs going in there where it goes and throws it, oh, this is my request ID, and then keeps on polling it till that machine is get evolved. So we use the same concept over here, and you can see where I'm going ahead with it. When we set up a platform, you want to do all those operations there. So let's say, for example, I'll take an example of two personas. I have an API support team member. He gets a request from a particular customer saying, this is our API, we want access to it. And because we are a B2B company, we do have rules in terms of who is accessing our APIs, which endpoint he's accessing. So we have a very fine-grained access control requirement. And what the support agent will go and do is, he'll basically look at the API product, the version, the scope it needs to be subscribed to, and will do that activity. Now take another example where a person is coming from a dev portal. He also wants to trigger the same activity. How do we make sure that the experience at both levels are same and we only write one code and use it everywhere? That is why we came up with the concept of an operator, which is nothing but an HTTP-enabled platform management, which allows us to trigger actions, and those actions are again HTTP-enabled, which again triggers Kubernetes jobs, and then from that, it goes and does all the work. It goes to connect, it does the dev portal, it goes to IDP, and improves the experience around it. Now, and we started maintaining state around it in our catalog service. Now, if you look at the evolution of how Connect from last year to this year has come in, they came up with the concept of service catalog, but it was in beta when we started out. So we started very early to move to Connect in our company. And at that time, a lot of the features were not available. Service catalog was very initial in beta phase. We had the API as a product concept was still being refined, and later it was converted as APIs. A lot of those features, we wanted it to be there from the start. And we had our own use cases to manage it. That's why catalog service became an important thing for us. Now, in this way, because we had the same operation going all around it, it became very easy for us to expose that catalog service along with the information which we have on the dev portal via an MCP server. So that improved our developer experience. So let's say if you have hundreds of APIs in your ecosystem, my developer today can go and say, give me a pattern of exposing, let's say, a 400 request format. It runs through an internal RAG format. It runs through a vector database. Our MCP server is exposing the tool, and they get the information which they want. Because of the proprietary thing and our corporate affairs, I couldn't show it as a live demo, but that's why I'm just explaining it. But you can get the gist of it, that how it works. So it improves the developers' experience in terms of when they're developing the API. And also from the platform management point of view, it improves that they can get hold of the information what has been configured in Kong from the start. Similarly, today we have introduced the concept of API support agents. A lot of the work where if you have new onboarding coming in, a new client wants to use our API support teams are getting, we have forms on CRM, Salesforce. Our clients are filling up the forms. It will go to an API support team. They'll look at it, and they'll manually provision it. Now, with this agents coming in, we have just directly hooked it up to our Salesforce form. And it goes in, it does the work, no human intervention required. And because we have that operator in between, our agents then directly end up calling our API endpoints. So in that way, we have been able to route multiple agents to achieve that activity. What this has done for us, our API support timelines, which were like earlier, used to be 1 hour, has reduced to 2 minutes now. So their support, which was like, okay, people were working on it. You had 3 or 4 people dedicatedly working across. We do work, because we are the single player in Australia, the number of customers which interact with our platform runs into thousands. So you can imagine the support activity which the team was doing, they were busy for the full day. and it was like a 24 hours job for them. Like we are online 24/7 without going down. So the support team used to be very extensive. And now with doing this, we are finding that the support team has been able to just verify, log it out if there are any issues around it. Again, why we chose this approach, it provides a proper abstraction, removes the complexity, developer experience improves, support teams improve. We're also working on SRE agents. So you have deployed your whole Connect platform. It is again being exposed through operator. If I want to restart, refresh, reapply the configurations, check regularly what is happening is, if there's any error logs which have come in our platform, it throws to an agent. Agent looks at multiple things, carries out 4 or 5 operations to verify the platform is up. You don't need to raise a PagerDuty alert and somebody gets up at night and looks at it and then just goes and marks it. Oh, that whole activity has been reduced because of that SRE agents we have tried to introduce. So we analyzed a lot of alerts which were raised over the last 1 year on our platform. Based on that, we created agent. We also added a reflective agent over there, which basically goes and says, okay, this is the error message you have got. What are the steps you're going to do? It triggers 3 or 4 agents in the background. They go and do verify it. So we have released first beta version of SRE agents, and we are working towards more improving the experience on that side. Yes, a lot of our actions. So we are big users of GitHub Actions. Again, this calls operator. And the same GitHub Actions, it's basically a wrapper around the operator APIs which we have created. But at the same time, the same operator endpoints are being called from dev portal today. So on the dev portal, if I want to disable a particular consumer, let's say a third-party system has been hacked, because we are very critical, we get more than 300,000 spam or DDoS attacks every year, right? And then the phishing attacks are even more on our platform. So because we have that critical infrastructure, do a lot of payments management and everything, we are being targeted by hackers every day, right? So for what that meant is, if a third-party system, let's say if there's a mom and shop provider of loans, those get hacked, and somebody is using their systems to trigger calls on our systems. We want to disable that consumer without any, we have to stop that consumer at any cost. So by having this operator, our support team can go into the dev portal, they can just select one button, click OK, and it goes and does that work for them automatically. Yep, talked about having a centralized catalog. Now, one of the problems in industry is people don't realize how many APIs are there in their ecosystem. Teams are developing it, they are building it. You have a lot of gateways exposing it. You might have built a self-service capability. You don't know where the APIs are, how to get the central reference of it. When we started with the Connect journey, our one of the main things was that as a company, we need to know how many endpoints are there in our particular environment. All our traffic in PEXA is going through Kong today, whether it's web traffic, API traffic, government-related MTLS traffic, public traffic with the OAuth patterns. Everything goes through Kong. So we are able to recognize at each endpoint level who is calling us, when they are calling us, how many times they call us. We implemented service rate limits, and there's another plugin which Kong introduced, I think somewhere around March, which is the service protection, which allows rate limiting at the service level, not at the route level. So in that way, we are able to manage a lot of things. The other thing for us was the permission management is a very critical part of us, our ecosystem. So just to give you an example, let's say a property has been exchanged. We need to inform a local council or the water authorities of the world that somebody has bought the property, changed the name of that. So they have to call 2 or 3 endpoints for us. Now those endpoints might be across 2 or 3 APIs, but we can't give them access on all the endpoints in that API. Even within that API, that endpoint which they have been called, they have to be given a specific set of permission, data elements. So that means that you have although given the scope, that scope has only been allowed for that particular client, still you have to do another level of data entitlement because of that nature of our work. And that's where managing the relationship, identifying who is calling us, it becomes really important. Even AI agents which are working on behalf. Now, one of the aspects which we are working on and we have started working on is create AI agents now for our clients. We have started getting experience of having AI agents for support. We are building SRE agents. Now we want to extend it for our clients. And when you extend it for our clients, you still have to do those data entitlements and everything. So that's where we have started looking at how we can uniquely identify agents. Can we give them certain identities? And we are working on this. I think one of the sessions just before this one, in the agentic track over there, we were talking about how we can identify agents, and there's no certain protocols. And this is where we are working around it. Again, the things we are talking about, filtering the data, sensitive, rate limiting, comprehensive audit loggings, and AI interactions. Now, on the audit logging side of things, one of the critical things we are looking at from that point of view is we have centralized logging for all our systems where you log it, you trace it, and do that stuff. Along with that, we are also publishing some of the stats in terms of usage, and that gives us a comprehensive way to audit everything which is happening on a platform and also the systems which are working through it. So again, our idea is that we get those centralized logging. We are going to use the analytics API which the Connect team have brought up over the last 2-3 months and hook it up with the audit logging so that we can add some agents around it to generate reports. This is again talking about the same thing which I was explaining. Okay. Now, what are the challenges encountered? Again, complexity of integration with legacy systems. Our company started around 2010. So at that time, most were server rendered. You have monoliths somewhere playing the part. So we have to build a lot of interfaces and layering to manage it. We need to protect our systems in the background as well. Being critical infrastructure, we cannot go down. So we have layered our systems along with it. The other thing is upskilling. Upskilling is always a thing where you want to bring your development community along with you. So this is where it was not a challenge, but it was more of taking time to explain teams, getting them on board on a platform and going through it. It seems a lot of work, but most of the work for migration towards Connect with all this agentic work, we were able to do it in 6 months' time with a 4-member team. This is our future roadmap, which we are working on. So we have already done we have done some of the analytics side of things. We're looking to do some of the automated API scoring side of things, and Kong is bringing out their scorecard for APIs, which is, I think, has come out. So we'll be looking at some of these features which Kong is bringing and maybe remove our code and try to use the Kong features there. Yep, that's it. So that's the presentation.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Thank you for hanging on in the last session here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rupesh, for being here with us.